train station was almost empty when you arrived. Not silent, but quiet in a way that only exists late at night. The kind of quiet where sounds feel softer, as if they are careful not to disturb anyone. A single train waited at the platform. Its lights glowed gently, casting long reflections across the floor. You didn't remember deciding to come here, and yet it felt exactly right. There was no rush, no announcements calling your name, no crowd pushing you forward, just the slow rhythm of the station breathing around you. You stepped onto the train. The doors closed without sound. No sudden movement, no jolt. Inside, the car was warm and dimly lit. Empty seats, wide windows, a sense of space. You chose a seat by the window and settled in. The train began to move, slowly, smoothly, as if it had all the time in the world. Outside, the city drifted past. Streetlights, quiet buildings, dark windows where people were already asleep. The motion was gentle, so gentle you barely noticed it at first. Your body relaxed into the seat, not because you told it to, but because the movement invited it to. This train was not in a hurry, and neither were you. The city unfolded slowly outside the window. Empty streets curved past, their lights stretching into soft lines as the train glided forward. You noticed small details. A bakery with lights still on. A lone car waiting at a red light. A balcony with a chair turned toward the night. Everything looked peaceful, as if the city itself was resting. Inside the train, the air felt steady and calm. The quiet hum of motion wrapped around you, constant and reassuring. You leaned back slightly, letting the rhythm carry you. There was no destination displayed, no map, no schedule you needed to follow. This was the kind of journey where knowing where you were going didn't matter. Each passing moment felt slower than the last. Time stretched, not endlessly, but gently. Your thoughts followed the movement of the train. They came, then passed, without stopping for long. The seat supported you comfortably. Your shoulders loosened. Your hands rested easily in your lap. Outside, the city began to thin. Buildings grew farther apart. Lights appeared less often. The train continued forward, steady and unhurried, as if it was guiding you away from the noise of the day and deeper into the quiet of the night. The train moved beyond the city now, into darker stretches of land. Occasional lights appeared in the distance, then disappeared again, like brief thoughts that fade before fully forming. The motion remained smooth, uninterrupted, almost hypnotic. You noticed how natural it felt to simply sit and watch, to do nothing else. No messages to check, no decisions to make, no reason to stay alert. The window reflected a faint outline of you, calm still, at ease. The gentle sound of the train filled the space, not loud enough to demand attention, but steady enough to feel safe. You shifted slightly in your seat, finding a position that felt just right. Your body responded immediately, settling deeper. Your breathing slowed without effort, longer pauses between each breath, softer movements of your chest. Outside, the darkness grew wider, more open, less defined. The train seemed to move through it effortlessly, as if the night itself was making space. You felt carried, not just by the train, but by the moment. There was nothing to prepare for, nothing waiting at the end of the line. Just this quiet ride, stretching comfortably onward, inviting you to let go a little more with every passing second. At some point, you stopped keeping track of what passed outside the window. The darkness blended together. The motion became background, steady, familiar. Your body felt heavy in the seat, supported from every side. The train continued its journey, unchanged, unbothered, reliable. If there were other passengers, you didn't notice them. If there were stops, they didn't matter. This part of the ride belonged only to you. The lights inside the car dimmed slightly, not suddenly, gradually. The window now reflected mostly darkness, with only hints of movement beyond it. Your eyelids grew heavier, not forced, not sudden, just ready. The train moved on, carrying you deeper into the night, past the last awake places, past the need to stay alert. Wherever it was going, it could go there without you watching. You allowed your eyes to close, just for a moment. The rhythm stayed the same. The motion continued, and the train carried on, quietly, through the sleeping world, while you drifted into rest. The train continued its quiet journey, moving steadily through the night. Outside, the darkness felt deeper now, broken only by the occasional distant light. A farmhouse far away, a single lamp near a crossing, then nothing again. Inside the carriage, everything remained unchanged. Warm, still, gently lit. The soft sound of the tracks formed a rhythm, repeating again and again, never rushing, never stopping. You noticed how familiar it had become. That sound, that motion. It felt like the kind of rhythm your body had known long before tonight. Something remembered rather than learned. The window beside you reflected only faint shapes now, mostly shadow, mostly calm. You shifted slightly, finding an even more comfortable position. The seat seemed to welcome it, supporting you without effort. There was no conductor passing through, no announcements, no interruptions of any kind. This train did not belong to schedules. It belonged to the night. Somewhere in the distance, the city you left behind was already asleep. Lights turned off, windows darkened, streets empty, and you felt yourself drifting farther away from it, not in distance, but in awareness. The train carried you on, steady and patient, as if it knew there was no need to hurry. At one point, the train slowed slightly, almost imperceptibly, not to stop, but to glide through a quieter stretch of the night. Outside, the landscape opened up. Wide fields, dark trees, long, uninterrupted shadows. The moon appeared briefly between the clouds, casting pale light across the ground, then slipping away again. Inside, the air felt even calmer, as if the night itself had settled deeper into silence. You rested your head back, letting the gentle motion continue beneath you. Your thoughts became simpler, shorter, less defined. They no longer followed one another. They appeared, then quietly stepped aside. The steady movement of the train seemed to smooth everything out. Edges softened, details faded. You were aware of the warmth of the seat, the stillness of your body, the quiet certainty that nothing was required of you. The train did not ask where you were going. It did not ask who you were. It simply carried you, and that was enough. Time passed, though it was hard to say how much. The train moved on through the night, unchanged in its pace, unchanged in its calm. Somewhere along the way, you realized you no longer needed to watch the window. The darkness outside had become familiar, predictable, safe. Your eyelids grew heavier, not suddenly, but naturally. You let them rest halfway closed for a moment, then open again. The world remained the same, the motion steady, the sound constant. There was comfort in that, in knowing nothing unexpected would happen, nothing sharp, nothing loud. The train continued to glide forward, as if it were part of the night itself, moving where nights move, quietly and without announcement. Your breathing matched the rhythm now, slow, even. Each breath seemed to sink you deeper into the seat, deeper into stillness. The journey did not demand your attention anymore. It allowed you to drift, knowing it would continue either way. Eventually, even the idea of travel began to fade. The train was still moving, but it no longer felt like a journey, more like being held in motion. The darkness outside blended into a single, calm presence. No landmarks, no changes, just night. Inside the carriage, the lights dimmed just a little more, soft enough to barely notice. Your body felt completely supported now, heavy in the best possible way, still, at ease. There was nothing left to follow, nothing left to observe. The sound of the train became background, then comfort, then something almost dreamlike. If there was a destination, it did not matter anymore. If there were stops ahead, they could wait. This moment belonged to rest, to drifting, to letting the night carry you the rest of the way. You allowed your eyes to close again, this time without reopening them. The train continued on, smooth and uninterrupted, moving quietly through the sleeping world, while you drifted deeper into sleep. The train did not slow down. It did not stop. It simply continued as it always had. Somewhere far ahead, the tracks stretched on into the dark, but you no longer followed them with your thoughts. The rhythm remained, soft, even, reliable. The carriage felt almost weightless now, as if it were floating rather than moving, as if the night itself was carrying everything forward. You were no longer aware of where you had been, or how long the journey had lasted. Those details had quietly slipped away. All that remained was the gentle sense of motion, steady and unbroken, like a lullaby without words. The world outside stayed asleep. The world inside grew quieter still. The train moved on through the darkness, through empty distances and silent places, without ever needing your attention. You were safe here, held by the movement, sheltered by the night. If morning would come, it could come later. If the train would arrive somewhere, it would arrive without needing you to watch. For now, there was nothing left to do, nothing left to follow, nothing left to hold. The train continued its quiet journey, and you rested completely, drifting gently, while the night carried you the rest of the way.